Oop teaches her autistic daughter a harsh lesson about hygiene. I am not the op. Op is you, legitimate role 3674. Original posted in R. Am I the Asshole on January 2, 2023. AITA for teaching my autistic daughter a harsh lesson? Trigger warning. Ableism and child abuse. Less than. Mood spoiler. Heartbreaking. Less than. I have an autistic 14-year-old who has terrible hygiene. I have to fight with her to get her to shower, brush her teeth, and clean up after herself during her period. It is disgusting. Blood everywhere and the constant washing of underwear. She sees no problem with her inability to clean herself up. I told her that people are going to bully her in school if she smells bad and that it is hard to recover from that socially, and she ignored me. Well, she had her period last week. I picked her clothing and allowed her to wear white pants. I wanted to see if she would clean up after herself so that the pants would be clean when she came back home. Before I even dropped her off, the pants were red. I stayed silent. I dropped her off like normal. She needed to learn how these type of situations will impact her social life if she continues to live like a slob. She came home in tears. The kids were ruthless. She was mocked for her strong smell and the red on her pants. It hurt me to see her like this, but I was not seeing the changes that had to be made. For the rest of the week she took good care of herself. There were no stains. She showered herself and would spray perfume to maintain a flowery scent. My husband and I fought about this though. He called me some very hurtful words because of my choice. He said I handled it poorly and that she will be paying for this for the rest of the school year. I see it as a life lesson. And it actually yields results, unlike my husband's soft approach. So am I the asshole for the way I taught my daughter a lesson? Edit. Thread continues in true off my chest. Thank you for the advice and even the insults. I needed them to wake up. Update. Posted in R. True off my chest on January 3, 2023. Update. I failed as a parent with my autistic daughter. She did not want to come to school today. I let her skip and we went out to get some pancakes for breakfast at a place she likes. I apologized to my husband and he apologized to me too. We are going to work together to parent her in a way that we both agree with. In a way that will allow her to live a healthy life. I had good intentions, but what I did to my daughter was truly disgusting. I'll give her a few weeks and then maybe move her to a different school within the district for a fresh start. She says she's not angry at me. But I know that is not true. I deserve it. I am lucky that she is not refusing to speak to me. I will speak to the family doctor and her therapist about how to get her to work with the discomfort. Regarding tampons and pads, I'm truly sorry for the ableism that I displayed here. It was truly inappropriate to handle the situation like this and then to share it online where many people could read it. I am sorry my post became a safe space for people to share propaganda about autistic children. I am disgusted and will do better for my family. Reminder. I am not the op. At least she was able to self-reflect and will hopefully help her daughter out and not let her be bullied or traumatized. The fact that the daughter is autistic changes everything and she needs support in healthier ways. As someone who works with kids with autism, letting an adolescent see the consequences of their choices can be a powerful tool. But this is simply too high stakes. This ruins the next 4 years of school as a safe social and learning environment. I went to school once with 7-day-old socks. Don't ask. IDK either. And it smelled so badly that I got bullied for it. I can't imagine the severity of her experience because when I was 14. Kids think periods are a shameful, it shall not be named, thing where you'll get verbal and silent judgment if it's stained. Wow. Imagine setting your kid up for absolutely brutal humiliation and then wondering if you might be an arsehole. Great that Oop and her husband apologized to each other. But it sounds like she didn't bother apologizing to her daughter. It is so important to recognize when people who behave poorly take accountability for their actions. You can't be a perfect parent, but you can be a loving parent and set an example for growth and change. I wish this family so much luck and healing, and I hope she continues on this path of enlightenment. For the sake of her daughter and family. That poor kiddo. I wonder if period panties would help. I got bullied for smelling like Indian food. I am an Indian and I went to a school in a somewhat rural area. And I am still dealing with the impact it had on me. This is definitely gonna have a huge impact on her for years to come. I just want to know how heavy is this girl's flow if she had already held through her pants? What type of products was she even using? Even if she wore dark-colored pants, wouldn't the kids still tease her because of the smell? And why didn't any of the teachers call up or the dad to pick her up or bring a change of clothes? This story doesn't pass the sniff test for me. It would be one thing to let the daughter sink or swim on her own, but to put out white pants for her seems a bit Lord of the Fleecish. I understand the sentiment of Oop wanting daughter to be hygienic and that the learning curve can be a very tough road with autism in the mix. That said, how in any facet of OOP's imagination was that the right thing to do? Embarrass, traumatize your daughter who almost definitely doesn't comprehend the social cues surrounding personal hygiene by knowingly letting her walk into school with period-stained pants to get bullied? Oop is genuinely lucky that husband didn't bring up divorce on the spot. Oh, what an awful thing to do. I can't imagine knowingly let my kid walk into humiliation like that without doing anything to prevent it. I'm glad Oop is disgusted in herself and has resolved to do better. But that doesn't make up for the bullying her daughter is no doubt still getting at school. Even if Oop moves her to a new school, that won't erase the daughter's knowledge that her own mother set this situation up to begin with. Sometimes the smelly kid needs to be made fun of that they smell so they will change. It's a harsh reality, but it is what it is. If it doesn't happen, you get nasty-ass neckbeards who go out in public looking and smelling like an orc's asshole. I'm an autistic adult. I saw the original post. It made me so beyond angry. That poor child. Being autistic lowers your stress, trauma tolerance on top of everything. That poor girl is going to have a monumentally hard time recovering from this. My parents had me diagnosed, ignored it, and would often belittle me for autistic actions or behaviors. I no longer speak to one of them and the other is on thin ice. I hope Op's mom gets her head out of her ass, because her kid certainly will never forget that. That poor girl. I think what's interesting about this is that it's partly not about her kid being autistic. It's the kid going through puberty as a person who has to deal with menstruation. Like, as a child? Bleeding constantly? That's terrifying. Oh. And you have to use all these products to keep the blood in and worry about bleeding through your clothes. But don't worry. Here's this foreign object that you shove into your privates in order to stop it. Everyone does it. Genuinely. When I was a child. When I got my first period. I cried. I didn't want to go through that. I used pads for a good while before I switched to tampons because I was scared to put something like that into my body. It's a scary experience for any kid regardless of whether they are autistic or not. But it was absolutely exasperated because her kid was autistic. The mother left her kid to the wolves instead of sitting down and trying to get the kid to explain why she didn't want to take care of herself. I worry that the fact that her kid didn't feel safe at all to go to her mother and ask questions or be comforted or whatnot is indicative that this is only the tip of the dysfunction of her home life. I guess we should be glad that the kid didn't pick her nose. Oop likely would have had stocks built on the front yard to put her in with a sign indicating her crime. And buckets of rotten fruit. I can't believe it doesn't go without saying that public humiliation should never be used by parents as a lesson, especially for a kid with special needs. Oop is awful. You can't bully people into not being disabled. I wouldn't be surprised if she also has dysautonomia and hypermobility issues as well, often comorbid with autism. And showering is probably a lot more taxing for her than a person because standing still and heat intolerance are huge triggers for many folks with dysautonomia. I hope they get the daughter set up with the supports she needs. At least she acknowledged she's a failure. I hope her daughter gets support from actual autistic adults, therapy to deal with her parents' treatment of her, and a transfer to a new school. I'm glad this mom learned her lesson. I didn't think she was going to. I was rooting for the dad to divorce her and take the daughter with him. I think the worst part is, to our knowledge, Oop never once just asked her daughter why she didn't bathe. Instead she fought, scolded, and publicly humiliated her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.